Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has blamed the section of religious leaders for allegedly worsening the state's security situation through inciting and unverified comments describing them as religious bandits. Speaking in Makurdi during the June 12th Democracy Day celebration, Alia, a reverend father turned governor, accused some clerics of distorting facts and aggravating tensions. If you do not have the fact about Benue and Nigeria, shut up. Speak what you know and what you can verify, he said. He urged citizens to focus on unity, resilience, and collective development efforts to restore peace and stability in the state. But while the governor called for responsible speech, grieving voices in Upper local government area are demanding more than words. In Edku, Ankpali, widows and community leaders cried out for urgent government intervention after a spate of coordinated killings allegedly by armed herdsmen. "They killed my husband like a cow," wept Mrs. Igbe Musa, whose spouse was butchered in front of their children. Her testimony was one of many shared during a fact-finding visit by the Ochetoha K. Idoma Forum led by Professor Yakubu Aboki Ochefu. The forum heard chilling accounts from widows and leaders in villages like Ojugbo, Ikobi, Ugbobi, and Ajegbe, who said the attackers burned homes, destroyed farmlands, and killed residents with impunity. At the palace of Chief John Anteyi, the monarch condemned the killings as systemic and deliberate, warning that his people are being targeted for extinction. "This is not random violence, it is calculated." Forum Secretary General Dr. Paul Ede called the situation a humanitarian emergency. "Justice is not a favor, it is a right," he said, promising to escalate the issue to both SEMA and NEMA. Despite promises of action, the people of Apa remain without adequate protection, still mourning, still waiting. You know, in Benue, they've gotten a harsh part of the burnt with, incessant killing, the butchering. What are your thoughts on this report? Especially with someone, you're butchering somebody in front of his children. I mean, where did our humanity go? What are your thoughts on this report?
Otara, this is fermented. It is so disheartening. How on earth, and not that this is occurring intermittently on a daily basis. The part of this assessment. No, I am saying the government, the presidency, and the government should do something about it.
Right.
The insecurity in the country is nothing to write on about. It's inflating every day. Now, this part, the part of the herdsmen, I believe this herdsmen should, for grazing, they should have a spot for grazing. Not right. You don't graze around people's farmlands. You don't graze around people's homes and no.
I want to draw your attention to something, right? When I was born in Nigeria, as a Nigerian citizen, right? I was born here. And while I was growing up, this farmland and herders disputes are not known things. Actually, you won't see cows walking inside UST trying to graze as an institution. Right. Now, we've had several precedents over time. When did this become a problem? That it has now warranted the use of people's farm, butchering people's husbands. It has become a menace. Actually, there's a community in Edo State that has declared that they don't want to eat meat again. They don't want beef in their community anymore. So any herder there should leave because they won't even patronize. They will stick to eating fish and whatever it is they have there. They don't want to eat beef. I mean, on the general scope, right, how did we get here and what can be done to stop it?
Now, that's what I say, it is in the weakness of the government. Not to, instead of you calling a spade, you're calling it agricultural tool. Now, a spade should be what? Called a spade. Like, for instance, in Alo and the neighborhood communities, you see herdsmen with their cattle moving around about in people's homes and all that, people farmland, and which part will you call and will you not call? No, those days when we were little, if you won't see as a child, you see a cow, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked to see a cow. Those days we were seeing cows in TVs and maybe
but then there was still meat. There was still beef.
Beef. Now, the part at which they are pushing on this now I am seeing there's an undertone. So the government should send it as a strict warning. Everybody has you have right to do your business, but don't use your business to what? To inconvenience the next person. And some persons, okay, how about the persons that have poultry farms? Yes, they have the poultry farms. Some of them have the fish farms and all that are doing their own business. They've not unleashed their birds to go on and eat crops. Why will you unleash yours and they say you're in the name of grazing? No, it's uncalled for. So this person, they are both their governors and the president should put a stop to it. Should hit it nail on the head by saying this should stop. You're permitted to graze, but graze, there's no crime in maybe you acquire like 10 plots of land and maybe you're into cattle rearing. Allow them, let them move within. You fence it around. Let them move within that place. And maybe you go get those days. Even in our villages, you still have it up to now. You see some people just make a hut for goats, and maybe you come out, you cut their leaves and you throw in them to avoid to cut this menace. That's how we do. Not you taking them, you take them around, and maybe these same persons you see them with daggers and machetes, guns, and all the rest around about them because they're what? They are ready for what? So it's uncalled for to the extent of you killing someone's husband in their presence, in presence of the wife.
And
it is diabolic.
That is just one story from the others. Now I want to gather your thoughts as regards the Governor Alia. He came up to say that some religious leaders are, fanning the embers of the whole situation, and we should speak according to what we have information to. And most of them are not from Benue State. But well, you've heard from the citizens. Do you think this is the time, as core as the challenges, with the voices of this community crying that that is a targeted act of extinction? Do you think this is the time for name calling and blame gaming?
My concern with River State and with Nigeria, and the problem I have is this part of something happened. Instead of you to hit it at the point they're hitting them, you now shift blames. Why will you now bring in religious affairs into this? Religion has nothing to do with this. It has to do with what? Your business. What you're doing, you're pushing this. Hit the nail on the head. Don't say, call these persons to book. The headsmen. If you're doing your business, we are not saying don't do your business, but your business should be within your confines. Like for example, in this, let's say for instance, where we are now, we are in a studio of this company. For instance, let's say the people that are selling spare parts. If tomorrow maybe they come into this studio to sell their spare parts here, the owner of this studio of this company of ATN will frown against it. Right. Because this is his own business. So everybody has in business, just as in business, we will learn that business has its own location. Before you bring in your capital, you must think of the location of what? Of advancing your business. Not using your business to disturb that of the next person. But the next person is into farming of maybe cassava farm and others, and you use your cattle and to eat cassava, and you now still sell your cattle to who is fooling who. Right. So please, it's uncalled for. Let everybody say let's both the wheat and the wheat grow to harvest day. So let everybody take his own part, and let's not push it to either to religion or to something. No, religion has nothing to play with this. It has to do with what? Psych. And it has to do with the government coming into play and making this to stop.
Right. Thank you.